Welcome back to the Global Business Report here on Arise News. Now, film production business has become a mega business in a multi-billion-dollar industry. Over the past few decades, Nollywood has become a source of profit for actors and Nigerian film producers. Now, this phenomenon has had global impact since many Nigerian films are released in just weeks or, in some cases, days. Joining me in the studio is the film director of Bolanle Austen and 93 Days, Bolanle Austen Peters. Good to have you, Bolanle.
Good afternoon, lovely to be here.
All right, now Nigeria has come of age when it comes to film business over time. How would you describe the journey so far?
I'm new in the industry, to be quite honest. I started about 4 years ago with 93 Days, which I produced.
But you're a stakeholder, obviously.
In that sense.
Okay.
But I co-produced 93 Days, one of the movies that really did well internationally. We were at about 7 film festivals. And obviously, you know that to get into film festivals, you need to be invited. Typically, you don't get that going on with a lot of our movies. So yes, we did 93 Days, and now I just directed The Bolanle Austen, which is a movie that I conceived based on lifestyle. It's almost like a satirical piece of a particular portion of our society.
Very good. Now, from a commercial point of view, what are the challenges confronting stakeholders in the film industry?
I think the first thing is, in terms of scale, we don't have enough cinemas. So if you're going to release a movie and you only have maybe 40 or 50 screens across Nigeria, it becomes very difficult for a producer to recoup their monies. I think that's probably one of the biggest challenges that we have. And I think obviously funding for that kind of institution or space is also limited. So a lot of executive producers have to manage their funds and ensure that they keep within a particular ceiling if you're going to make any form of profit. Also, because we have limited screens, the turnaround of movies in cinemas is very quick. So your movie is out there for no more than 2 weeks, 3 weeks, depending on the scheduling that is available for screen space.
So in terms of funding, let's take a look at that closely. Is it you're expecting, is it from policymakers in that regard, or your own private funds? So what do you make of that?
Private funds, you know, if you're going to invest in any form of business, you obviously want to have some profit. Now, when I mentioned to you that screens are limited, it obviously also means that you're not going to be able to turn around a lot more money because you're there for only 3 weeks or 4 weeks. Now, imagine if we had 1,000 or 100,000 cinemas as they have in other parts of the world. Now you're talking about multiples. So if I'm making, for instance, Bolanle Austen in his opening week, let's say, as an example, if we made 20 million or 30 million naira, spread across Nigeria, if we had 100,000 screens, we'll be making maybe 300 million. So it's that simple. I mean, there's nothing deep about it. It's very, very basic math. So what the real problem is, the challenge is that we don't have enough infrastructure. That's really the bottom line.
Good. Now, let's take a look at the Nollywood concept itself. Does it really have a wider appeal beyond the shores of Nigeria, realistically?
I think it does. I think it does in terms of entertainment value. Commercially, I'm not sure that it's that viable. Because when you travel the world, I mean, I've been to some parts of the world that I would never have imagined that anybody would know I was a Nigerian. But the minute you say, oh, I'm Nigerian, for instance, the Caribbean, I went to Turks and Caicos, I've been to Antigua, and the first thing they talk about is our movies, and it's also about our music. So definitely it does, it's doing well in terms of reputation. Now, financially, especially for the producers, they're not making a lot of money. So it looks very pretty. It's a very sexy thing to talk about, but in reality, I'm not sure that the executive producers are smiling to the bank. It will change, and like you know, with music, things have changed because of all the platforms that are available for them internationally.
Indeed.
Now, I think that when you look at the case of Netflix stepping into the space and platforms like that, will become more and more internationally relevant, and hopefully when we have more screens, more people will be willing to invest in the space. So it will change. It's just a question of time.
All right, indeed. Is Nigeria's film industry all about quantity at the expense of quality here, based on frequent film releases?
Absolutely. I mean, you know, you can't take the one from the other. The truth of the matter is nobody's going to be willing to put $1 million, $2 million behind a movie that you know that you're just going to be showing for 2 weeks and you're not going to make your returns. So it's, you know, pay peanuts, get monkeys. You know, really, at the end of the day, most people just want to produce, create some entertainment value, hopefully break even. There's even that some people would tell you that if you spend past 30 million, 40 million naira for a Nigerian movie, you're wasting your time.
Indeed.
Now, if you look at what happens internationally, if you look at Hollywood, for instance, people invest hundreds of millions of dollars because they know that they'll recoup people. If, at times, their opening weekend, they can make back all that money because it's, they have enough screens and it's spread across the globe. So yes, there is interest, but I'm not sure that we're commercially viable at the moment.
Indeed. Now, Bolanle, a recurrent decimal in the Nigerian film industry is the issue of piracy. Are we making any headway here? Well,
I was at the French Film Week or something, Cinema Week they had just a couple of days ago, and the issue of piracy came up again, and there is some effort. I understand that some police are being trained in terms of combating piracy. But I think piracy as an issue is the same thing that we have in all areas of business in Nigeria. There are issues, and the government is to face it head on. Do we have the capacity? Right. I doubt. So again, it's one of those things that hopefully with time will get better.
But when you have associations also talking about this, what efforts have they made, you know, in trying to curb this issue?
When we have what?
Associations or film, you know, associations.
They don't have it's about policing.
All right.
What can an association do in terms
well,
of
it's
policing?
part of policing as well. They can also spot the wrongs out there.
Even if they do, if you can't execute sort of like punishment, if you can't make the people who are doing it stop, what's the value add?
But you could channel that to those who are supposed the custodians of such.
I think they are, and I think, like I said, they are making some headway. Is it adequate? I doubt. But it's work in progress. It certainly is a problem. Yeah. And hopefully things will get resolved.
Very good. Now, are we doing enough to project Nigeria's cultural values? What separates us from Western films?
Well, you know, I can't speak for others, but what I tend to do is I focus on culture a lot, and I also focus on taking a message out of anything that I do. So 93 Days, for instance, was a docu-film. So basically it was recounting what happened with the Ebola crisis. So it's a classic. It'll be there forever. The Bling Negotiation is about lifestyle. It's about it's about excess. It's about living within your means, you know, which a lot of us tend not to do these days. Cut your coat according to your size. That's really the message in that movie. So I tend not to be frivolous. And with my stage plays, we do the same thing. We always have a message in there so that people can walk away having taken something from it. But more important, we do celebrate our culture in terms of our costumes, in terms of even the storyline. It's very rich. There are layers and layers and layers of messages in there about who we are, what we are about. We speak our language, you know, we just make sure that we subtitle it. So whatever it is that Nollywood is doing, they are genuinely projecting Nigerian culture. At times there might be an emphasis on a particular part that might be negative, but I think that there's also enough material out there to project us positively. Yes.
All right, Bolanle Austen Peters, would like to thank you very much for your thoughts on these issues. A pleasure having you to discuss on the business of filming.
To be here.
All right, very good.
Thank you.
As Global Business Report at this hour, stay tuned to Arise News from all of us. Thanks for being there. I'm Ni Uilo.